My name is Kevin Bruch. Climate change is very real, but CO2 isn't what's driving it. What we're experiencing is the reemergence of a prehistoric drought known as the altithermal. During the pre-settlement era, the frequent burning of the landscape by the Native Americans had maintained the separation between two incompatibly evolved forest types. To clarify that statement, nature had become reliant on the burning traditions of mankind. This indispensable reliance is a glaring indicator that somewhere in the distant past, a cataclysmic event had shattered the natural order. That incident was a mass extinction event that occurred 11,600 years ago. This die-off fatally broke a co-evolved floral-faunal mechanism. This co-evolved climate-influencing machine was constructed of numerous plant and animal species, which had slowly developed over a 2.6 million year period, commonly called the Pleistocene ice ages. The extinction event fatally compromised the mechanism, which caused the Pleistocene climate to collapse. We are living in the shattered ecological remains of a once magnificent natural world. In the aftermath of the collapse, in what is referred to as the Holocene, the climate warmed. Enormous glaciers that once covered what today is Canada slowly melted and disappeared. About 8,000 years ago, the altithermal emerged. The altithermal was a drought that lasted for 3,000 years and mysteriously ended about 5,000 years ago. I believe it was at this time that the Native Americans began their tradition of frequently burning the landscape, doing so in a wise and timely manner. These fires not only restored the grasslands, but forced the altithermal into dormancy. As mentioned in part 1, the West has two very different and incompatibly evolved tree types, glacial and interglacial. During the Pleistocene, the vital separation between these polar opposite forest structures had been maintained by the mastodon. The mastodon consumed low-lying bushes and the reachable foliage from trees. And while this doesn't sound like much, it was this action that inhibited fire from entering the highly flammable forest canopy. The dietary requirement of the mastodon also forced each forest type into isolation. This mastodon-induced forest-type separation proved indispensable for not only maintaining the isolation between the differently evolved plant communities, but the very survival of the Pleistocene itself. I contend that the mastodon was the keystone species, and its sudden disappearance caused the Pleistocene to collapse. Several other grass-eating megafauna species, such as the mammoth, appear to have been completely dependent on the interglacial plant communities because they also went extinct. Several thousand years later, the Native Americans used fire as a proxy to re-separate the incompatibly evolved plant communities. This separation included the two oppositely evolved tree types. Although an anemic version of its former self, nature rebounded. The rains returned, the grasslands formed and flourished. The bison, which was the only surviving mega animal, began to recover, but it reemerged at the end of the altithermal much smaller. This stunting provides conclusive evidence that this extended drought was both unprecedented and a direct consequence of the shattering of the Pleistocene co-evolved mechanism. For those seeking a deeper understanding of this breakthrough original theory, I encourage you to read the following two books, Forgotten Fires by Omar Stewart and The Last Old Growth Sawyer, World-Saving Solutions by Kevin Bruch, which is available on Amazon. There is a limited second option for those who want a signed copy of The Last Old Growth Sawyer, which is available at scottpublishing.com. Please like, subscribe, and email me with any questions you may have. Thank you for watching.